We got. Oh, well, in that case, I'm ready. All right, we'll start with Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the March 25th, 2025 meeting.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes from the March 25th, 2025 meeting. I'll second.
And as amended,
As amended.
I don't think you were here quite yet, I was talking earlier, there's just a slight mistake in the minutes, they should say December 17th instead of.
Okay.
But I will make that change.
Okay.
Hayes. Sting. McLean,
Yes.
County,
Yes.
Parks,
Yes.
Mauer,
Yes.
Dees.
Yes.
All right. Next item this evening. Let me get through here. Is a design review for a proposed single-family home located at 705 East Shawnee Street.
Jonathan and Laura, hopefully I don't butcher their last name, Trevelyan, have purchased a lot in Paola with the hopes of building a home they can move into from out of state. The potential residence will be located at 705 East Shawnee Street and be approximately 1,280 square feet with a 932 square foot attached garage. The home proposed is a pre-engineered metal building, which will be placed on a slab on grade foundation and finished out like a traditional house on the inside. The Trevelyan's have provided a rendering of the proposed single-family residence for design review. The LDO provides Planning Commission the authority to approve deviations from one or more of the design standards on the basis of a finding that the architectural style proposed provides compensating design features and that the proposed dwelling will be compatible and harmonious with the existing structures in the vicinity. Section 15.525 covers residential design standards. For minimum dimension, the minimum dimension of the smaller side of a house is 22 feet. So at very minimum, you picture a 22 foot by 22 foot square. That'd be the minimum. This proposed house meets this requirement at 36 foot by 62 feet. For foundations, all buildings shall be placed on a permanent foundation that meets applicable building codes. The floor elevation of the proposed dwelling shall be reasonably compatible with the floor elevations of surrounding dwelling units. This house is proposed to be placed on a slab foundation at approximately the same elevation as the neighboring house. Every single family home built is required to have a garage or carport. In this case, the house plans include a 932 square foot attached garage. Driveways with access on public streets shall be hard surfaced, and the hard surface driveway has been included in their plans. This street is actually kind of unique. It's at the very end of a street, so it's actually gravel right now, and the city is going to be extending that out for them to be able to access, but they'll still have a hard surface drive. Roof pitch overhang. All main buildings shall have a pitched roof with a minimum 12-inch roof overhang on each of the dwelling's perimeter walls, such that the overhang is architecturally integrated into the design of the dwelling. Roof overhang has been indicated in the plans. For roofing material, all main buildings and detached garages or carports shall have a roof surface of wood shakes, asphalt composition, or wood shingles, clay or concrete tiles, or other material expressly designed for roofs. In this case, a standing seam metal roof is proposed, and those are currently accepted roof materials for the city. Where they run into asking for a deviation, the siding materials, all main buildings and all detached garages shall have exterior siding materials consisting of wood, masonry, concrete, stucco, masonite, vinyl, or metal lap. The exterior siding shall extend to the ground level, except that when solid concrete or masonry perimeter foundation is used, the siding material needs to exceed below the top of the foundation. This is the design standards civilians are requesting a deviation from by proposing the use of vertical seam metal siding. They have included a significant amount of landscaping surrounding the house as opposed to an architectural element on the lower 1/3 of the building. For design review standards, in conducting the design review, the planning commission shall evaluate the plan against the following criteria. Approval requires that the criteria have been met or applicable to specific projects, and that the development is significantly superior to one that simply met the ordinance requirements. The project is compatible with the surrounding uses in terms of scale and adherence to the traditional character of Paola. The architecture, project layout, landscaping, and signs contribute to a harmonious and diverse character that has a strong sense of unity. Monotony is avoided, and the plan provides an environment that has interest and diversity without becoming chaotic or discordant. The buildings are designed to be part of Paola rather than a plan or character that can be applied to similar uses across the nation. Formula buildings and color schemes are undesirable. The streetscape protects and or enhances the entrances of Paola, making them distinct from similar land uses in other communities. The combination of architecture, signs, landscaping creates a sense of place for those developments having many buildings or which contribute to an overall sense of unity if the development is a single building. The streetscape and building design reduces the apparent building mass of large buildings to match the city's small town character. And so for site plan review, typically it's or not site plan review, for design review, it's typically for bigger developments and commercial developments. But I did want to include that in with this as it covers a lot of the landscaping and a lot of important details to take into consideration when looking at this house. Staff's recommendation is the approval of the design review. It is staff's opinion that the proposed house will enhance the overall appearance of the area and add diversity to the neighborhood. And including the attachments is the renderings for the house. And this proposed added landscaping is something that will be a requirement for them if it gets approved to get their final occupancy on the house. So they'll have to have all that in place to get occupancy either way.
So I thought at one time we were discouraging barndominiums or metal buildings as homes. And now I may be wrong, but we've had that discussion, I know, in the past.
Okay.
When we approved the tanker home, not tanker,
The container.
the container home.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What's the exterior on that?
It's steel as well. It's not a
A
like a
siding?
vertical lap siding, like a barn siding, but it is steel. And I think that's why it had to come here as well.
Okay,
Typically, I personally kind of look at it like our detached accessory structure ordinance requires that any detached garage that's metal sided either have an architectural element around the bottom of it, stone, a different siding type, or it gives an option of 3-foot bushes, I think 3 foot on center. And I believe the container home, Steve, you can probably contest to it better. He had added some wood kind of trim around it, and that was kind of
Yeah.
what factored into the architectural element.
Yeah.
You can see it when you drive by.
It was kind of a one-time deal also, because the lot size was below standard. And it was a one-time deal to see how it worked.
Gotcha.
In other words, it wasn't, I'm kind of like Steve, all these years. We've had cases where these have been denied. It just wasn't what the city was looking for.
Gotcha.
Um,
And I've looked some, but I haven't found anything specific. It's tough to find a specific date without having something to reference.
Well, obviously, it's more and more of these are being built.
I just got a phone call today on somebody else wanting one.
Yeah.
I get more phone calls about wanting condominiums than anything else too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in a small town.
I do think, and I believe it probably was previously discouraged, just like the county has previously in years past discouraged it, not allowed it, and now they're starting to, since it's becoming the trend. I think it factors in a little bit to the comp plan as far as adding some residences in town.
Well, it is kind of a unique spot because it's on the dead end on Shawnee Street too.
Yeah,
And it does set back far enough that it's not gonna be super visible as you drive by.
yeah, the east side of it, there's a huge area between Arista's building and it.
Have you heard anything from the neighbors? Have any of the neighbors said anything about it or?
I haven't been contacted by them. I do know the property owners have talked to them about it, just in kind of trying to figure out how their driveway worked, and I believe that they've told them that what they wanted to do. They haven't expressed any negative feedback to me. I don't know that they've talked to the people directly about it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Is it just a lot now? Or
yes, and it's actually,
Cause if you pull it up on Google, there's a house on it, 705 East Shawnee Street.
yeah. And Google may come up with something different.
Yeah, I mean, it could be old, it doesn't date it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's ever been a house there, but the lot itself hasn't been, I haven't sent out an address letter, so it's not officially addressed. It's just something that we used for it. It's what it will
There's a
become.
brand new
It
house
has.
that was built there.
Yeah,
Well, the house right in front of it was just freshly built within the last year.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That to me is,
I'm not sure it's getting you where it needs
Okay.
to be.
in fact, I was kind of really wondering why there wasn't a public hearing.
Right. Right.
For all the neighbors around
Yeah,
it.
it's not super.
Yeah.
Okay, so that helps.
Deviate
So that little gravel road is what he was talking
Yeah,
conditional
it
use.
goes down.
There's
and
no
dead end.
Yeah.
requirement for it. It's not a conditional use. It's just a deviation. So this is the same exact thing as, late last year, we did the driveway. A guy out at the lake that wanted to get away from the hard surface driveway requirement. This is the exact same thing as it. It's just a deviation from one section.
Yeah.
It's not like a variance where they would have to
That makes sense.
go through the public hearing and everything like that.
It just, I don't know, personally, it just bothered me that, in the past, there's been projects come in that were denied because of a metal building.
Mhm.
And there's certain parts of the city that are more out in the open. It looks to me like it'd be opening up a big can of worms
Well, and that's what,
for further.
and that's why it's design review. You take it individually, individual cases. That's why they have to come to you and ask for it, and provide some sort of.
Kind of complicates things when they say, well, hey, you let this one in. And I'm
But
gonna
it-
do the same thing.
That's why we have these discussions in
Yeah.
public forum. That way, we can go back and say, due to the location, it's at a dead end, there's not a lot of houses around it. And they've provided all this extra landscaping. To account for it.
It's not a big house. It kind of sticks to the, almost like the bungalow. You know, shape and everything.
And it,
Is it wood frame,
I believe it's metal,
all metal?
right?
All metal building.
Could be, I could be wrong on that, I don't have.
Yeah,
the
it
full
says
thing.
metals and finished as a traditional home on the inside.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right, it's a small. Not big in your face barn looking house.
Yeah.
There's another one that I looked at, and I, just going over it with Randy had. Showed her the renderings, and it doesn't look a whole lot more like a house than some of the barndominiums I've seen.
Is there any problem, I noticed in front of the new house, there's a ditch, water ditch going down the property line. Where does it dump out into that property? Cause it's kind of a downhill.
It continues on the front of that property, and then turns kind of right at the Arista property line. And then it would feed down towards Osage from there.
Go down Osage,
Mhm.
cause there is sometimes a surge of water down in that area.
Mhm. And the city, I talked to Brett and, will install the new culvert through there to allow them to access. They'll pay for it. We'll do the work, they'll pay for it.
For the culvert. This is kind of a tough one, but it is something we're gonna probably see more of. Like you said, you've already got somebody else, because it seems to be what a lot of people are wanting on smaller lots, at least, in town, so.
Yeah, it is definitely a rising trend in housing for sure.
And it makes some sense. I mean, it's probably cheaper to build
Well,
one.
that's what I was wondering, is it a cost thing?
I know, I know what originally drove them, it was a cost thing, I know. For at least some of the wood framed shop houses, the cost has actually gone up. More than a standard house. I think now it's probably fairly level. As far as build price. I know like a 40 by 60. Pole barn style shop is, $60,000 versus. Way more than that for the same size of house, granted, you're gonna have interior walls to add to that.
Sure.
The nice thing about doing something like that is all those load bearing walls or all those interior walls are not load bearing then.
Yeah.
Makes it a lot easier to frame out and design.
However you want to lay it out, yeah.
It's on doing the landscaping versus architectural.
Yeah, when I talked to him originally, I told him about our accessory structures, that it was an architectural element. It's gonna be preferred in something like this. And they were very much against it. It's probably gonna add a significant cost to do some sort of stone or wood siding around the bottom of it. And I don't know if that's with how the building's built. Because companies that build these just specialize in building metal buildings, they normally don't have that added.
Well, we do know we've got one other in town, down in Cherokee Ridge.
Did you go drive by it?
Yeah, I did drive by.
I do too.
I don't remember when that was materialized, but. It's definitely, yeah, it's definitely a metal building.
Mhm.
And it's not as attractive probably as these pictures are,
Mhm.
because it's pretty plain and fronted, and it's very visible,
Mhm.
right there at the end on that lot, so,
Yeah, this is a pretty
yeah. I mean, it
secluded
looks,
area.
yeah, it looks. Yeah.
And if they're moving from out of state. They don't come here, they're gonna go somewhere else, that'll let them do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have a hard time imagining a guy builds a new house right up on the street. That, personally, I just don't see how he could be happy with it.
Oh, I'd be more than happy to live next to a house like this compared to a lot of houses that are in town.
You don't want a neighbor,
The design,
you don't want a neighbor buy both lots,
Yeah.
that's hard, yeah.
Yeah, he may wish he bought the lot, but the project, only thing I got to deal with, the project is compatible with surrounding use in terms of scale and appearance. Personally, I don't think I can get around that. I just, I think there's a place for it, but to me, if that's allowed, and there's other places in town that people might not feel the same way. And then it's gonna come back.
Does this change, does this set precedents for everyone that wants to do it, or will everyone after this have to be approved?
They'll still all have to be approved, yeah. And
If you
that's,
approve one,
huh?
but if you've approved one, that, to me, it's location,
It's no
this
different,
is,
it's no different though than a variance. You take a variance as an individual use with individual circumstances.
to me, the location of this, really, the type of house doesn't matter
Mhm.
where it's at.
If it's gonna be anywhere, that's a good place for it to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think, you look at what's across the street from the new house. Older house. You got a lot of different designs and you go down Osage. A block away, they're all brick houses. And you go the other way, they're all little. Frame houses, and so it's,
A very diverse area.
yeah, it is a real diverse area down.
Yeah, well, something like this, in Heatherwood or Indian Hills
Yeah.
or something like that. Completely understandable.
Yeah.
I think they probably have their own covenants and regulations.
Oh,
on
yeah.
it, But
Yeah.
Well, I mean, since it's small, what is the height of the exterior walls, do we know, like they 9-10 foot?
it's a standard sidewall height. It's not like a.
That's too
like a
small.
full print for this.
I can read that print.
For a range stuff.
Yeah,
8 foot.
I mean, I think it'd look good as long as it's not a big, huge, like
Good.
Looks like
15-foot walls or anything like that. I think like a standard.
What's a garage door, 8 feet?
I've got the elevation.
So, yeah, that's 8. Feet's probably
Yeah.
20 in the peak.
Yeah.
10 foot. Would be the sidewall height. Looks like the gutter line would be
Mhm.
probably 11 foot. Okay. It says mezzanine, 10 foot, roof bearing, 12 foot. Yeah. Mhm.
Well, does anybody want to make a motion?
I would approve. Are you ready for official motion?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll take-
I move to approve the design review of the proposed single-family home located at 705 East Shawnee Street.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, we've got a motion. Second, any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote.
Hayes,
Yeah,
McLean,
No,
Calvin,
Yes.
Parks,
Yes,
Mauer,
Yes.
Dees.
Yes.
All right, motion carried.
I mean, I kind of agree with you, it might open up a thing in there. I think it's gotta stay at a certain size.
I just hope they do follow up with the landscaping.
They won't get a certificate of occupancy until they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
There's
what they-
just a house 3 years old that doesn't have
It does say that
landscaping or sod.
the foundation has to be level with the foundation of the other one. In here, I thought,
No, it just has to be consistent, close.
because it'd have to be a lot of fill, because it's down in,
Yeah,
it's down in a hole.
all right, that's in there, so somebody can't build a house way up above or drastically change it.
All right, the next item on the agenda is a public hearing for consideration and vote to recommend approval of amendment to conditional use permit 23 CUP 02. Legacy Properties and Development LLC is the applicant. I will take a motion to open the public hearing.
I would so move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, got a motion and a second.
Hayes? You gotta say yes or no.
Yeah.
Okay. McLean,
Yes,
Calvin,
Yes.
Parks,
yes,
Mauer,
Yes.
Dees.
Yes.
All right.
Legacy Properties and Development LLC property owner has requested an amendment to conditional use permit CUP 23 CUP 02 issued in May of 2023 for light industry in the downtown zoning district. The tenant, Heron Outdoors, produces, packages, and distributes a line of deer feed supplements. These are shipped to distributors and fulfillment centers with no retail sales at the local location. In the last 2 years, Heron Outdoors has prospered in this space and has now outgrown the allotted area inside the original CUP. Condition number 1 of the CUP limits the usage of the building to the ground floor only. The applicant is requesting the amended condition to include the basement as well as the adjoining space at 120 South Silver Street. The adjoining building at 120 South Silver Street is also located on the same parcel as the current permitted space. This request is due to the need for additional space for growing the business, as well as storage area for future growth. The applicant estimates the additional space to be enough for 2 to 3 years of business growth, at which time the tenant would seek a larger facility for the business. The applicant and tenant have complied with all the conditions since the current CUP was issued, and staff has not received any complaints on the property or usage. Planning Commission must ensure that the following standards shall be met. The proposed use is consistent with comprehensive plans, purposes, goals, objectives, policies, including standards for building and structural intensities and densities, and intensities of use. All be compatible with the character of land in the immediate vicinity. The proposed uses design shall minimize adverse effects, including visual impact of the proposed use on adjacent lands. The proposed use shall minimize adverse impacts on the environment, traffic, congestion, infrastructure, and governmental services. Staff's recommendation is the approval of the conditional use permit amendment with the following conditions. Limit the usage of the ground and basement floors of the building at 118 South Silver and the entire building at 120 South Silver. And then conditions 2 through 5 will remain the same.
Okay.
And the applicant, Rob George, is here.
All right.
Do you have any questions?
And do I see anybody from the public here? Which I do not. Probably. Did you get any comments? Written comments?
I got a written email, just a request for some more information from Miami County. So they're within that 200 feet.
All right.
Kenny, the county planner, reached out just for a little bit more information on it. Gave him the information and he was happy to see a business growing in town.
Good. Good,
That was all I got.
all right. Rob, do you wanna speak before I close the public hearing?
No, it's, well, obviously some things have changed since we made an application.
Yes, they have.
Terry passed away last week. But that still leaves Amy as part of Heron Outdoor, so until she can sort out which way's up and down. I decided, I originally had canceled the meeting, but then decided to keep it going, or keep it on through where I gone through everything, worst case, nothing else happens. So that's kind of, I don't know where that's gonna go. They were aiming for the moon, and all could have got there. And other parts of it, we did get that building, or the both buildings on the state historic registry as well as the national historic registry. So both Larry's and it was Fowler's Grain originally in 1907. So that is now on the state and national historic registry as well as the newspaper building on both registries. So we've saved those buildings. I hope, and Amy wants to, or wanted to try and keep things moving. So that's where we are. Again, it may come for naught, but we'll go that way until something else changes.
Yeah, all right. With that, I would take a motion to close the public hearing.
I would make a motion, we close.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Hayes,
Yeah.
McLean,
Yes.
Count,
Yes,
Parks,
Yes,
Mauer,
Yes.
Dees.
Yes.
all right,
Thank you.
all right. Anybody have any questions for Rob?
That was just the public hearing part.
Yeah.
They
that
still
was all
got
public
they
hearing.
still got a vote on it.
Oh, I thought that was the vote.
No, that was just the public hearing part. Now we get to,
Now you gotta argue about
yeah. Does anybody have any questions for him?
Like all your loading and stuff, is that in the rear of those buildings?
it. Sorry,
I didn't know they had,
there is
On
no,
the street.
there is.
so
no
you
rear
loaded out,
out the front door. That's what they were doing, and we would try to bring material in on a Saturday. And then he had regular pickups with UPS and then a common carrier, just a pallet of material, so they had that worked out. So they were there for, he had a pretty smooth, maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So that, he was in the way sort of, but there was nothing to get around. He took the parking spaces there in front of the building.
yeah,
So, I mean, we didn't interrupt traffic any more than Ethan's trucks.
yeah, well, the tire shop does that, so,
I know, I am sure as all of you guys drive through there all the time. I know I haven't ever.
No,
Anybody.
yeah, I think you guys do a good job too. I know you guys been busy, only because I talked to Brody that works there.
Yeah.
He says they're busy, so.
Yeah, we were.
well, I will make a motion to approve the updated conditional use permit.
a second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote.
Yes.
Hayes, McLean,
Yes.
Count,
Yes.
Parks,
Yes,
Mauer,
Yes.
Dees.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, you
Thank
bet.
you.
Now you're good. Now, next item on the agenda this evening is a request for a deviation from sign requirements for 2100 Baptiste Drive.
So staff has received an application for additional signage at Miami County Medical Center. The proposed signage is for the main entrance drive-up area in the front of the building. Section 7 of the LDO provides the signage requirements and limits buildings in the thoroughfare access district to 3 signs. This application accompanies several other sign permit applications to replace all of the current Olathe Health System signs to the University of Kansas Health System. In March of 2009, the Planning Commission approved a deviation from the maximum number of signs for this property, which included the addition of the doctor's building signs. In reviewing the previous request, staff noticed that the additional signage on this building is important due to the nature of the building. Planning Commission shall use the following criteria when considering a sign deviation. The purpose and intent of the code is the granting of the deviation in compliance with the general purpose and intent of the city's signage regulations. The intent of the regulations is to preserve the desired community character and avoid confusing and cluttered streetscapes. Staff feels that based on the nature of the emergency and medical care, specific signage is a necessity. Adding signs to assist patrons to a location for medical treatment would not be a detriment to this location. Impacts on adjacent properties. Will the granting of a deviation adversely affect neighboring property owners or residents? Is the sign consistent or compatible with the area as a whole? The addition of the signs will not adversely affect the residential areas as there are no homes directly adjacent and only a couple of homes near this property. It will be consistent with other signs along the Baptiste Drive corridor. For safety, will the granting of the deviation adversely affect safety? Based on the nature and location of the business, the proposed sign will not adversely affect safety, being very far off the road. Visual clutter. Will the granting of the proposed deviation significantly clutter the visual landscape of the area? Staff feels that installing additional signs at this location will not create any additional clutter in this area. Site constraints. Are there site constraints, topography, landscaping, existing buildings, or unusual building design that substantially block the visibility of the applicant's proposed signs? There are no site constraints at this particular location that will block visibility of these proposed signs. The lighting. Will the proposed sign disturb nearby residential land uses or adversely affect traffic on adjacent streets? Sign should not adversely impact residential property or traffic on Baptiste Drive due to their setback distance. Promotion of high quality, unique design. Is the proposed sign of high quality and compatible with color, lighting, and signs of the development and adjacent buildings? The proposed sign appears to be of high quality and signs are high quality and similar to other signs proposed for the building and other buildings that they have requested sign permits for. Staff's recommendation is the approval of deviating from the adopted signage requirements contained in the LDO to allow the additional signs as proposed. Included is some renderings of the two, technically three signs that are proposed. Pretty hard for the hospital to meet three signs anywhere.
It is. And I know it's confusing when people go out there that are from out of town.
Yeah.
They don't know where to go in, they don't know, they don't understand that that's the main entrance there, they think it's emergency room.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I-
even over the doctor's building signs, I think these make more sense than,
Oh, yeah,
than just about anything.
yeah, they do.
That's good.
That's the first thing I'm looking at when I pull up to a hospital was where's the ER entrance, where's the main entrance?
Yes.
So I'm surprised they hadn't done this in the past.
Anybody have any questions, comments, observations? I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the deviation for sign requirements of 2100 Baptiste Drive.
One second.
Got a motion and a second.
Please,
Yes.
complete,
Yes.
Calvin,
Yes.
Parks,
Yes.
Mauer,
Yes.
Pease.
Yes.
All right.
The next item this evening is a community economic development director report. Boy, that's a mouthful.
I almost changed it on this agenda just because I knew it was so much for you to say. But then I figured you've been doing this so long that it just.
Yeah, I've been doing it today or two, that's for sure.
I approved the first one, no, nine.
Yeah, I did actually. I was here. Yeah,
Okay, so year-to-date permits is 127. That's about 20 permits more than this time last year, so
good.
surprisingly. A lot of them have been little permits, but still flowing good. Kimley Horn has begun the Safe Streets for All Transportation Safety Action Plan for Paola. Actually just had our first monthly meeting on it today. It went really well. One of the little packets you guys have is what we will have posted on Facebook. And the QR code will take you to a website where you can fill out a survey where there's different problem areas in town. I know you guys specifically being on planning commission, will want to have a lot of input in this. We're actually going to, I believe it's later in the year, have a joint meeting with city council, some other boards throughout town and planning commission, to sit down and go over some of this once we get more of a plan in place. So I'm hoping this poll gets used a lot. I know we get comments quite a bit on different things citizens would like to see, so hopefully they reach out on it.
Yeah.
And then if you guys want any more information on this, I've got several slides from previous meetings and future meetings that I can share with you guys. There's a lot to print out, so I didn't wanna do that if anybody didn't want it. New business on the square will be coming soon at 23 West Wea Street.
West Wea.
I know, I just saw that, I just crossed it off. It's called the Ice Cream House. And he currently has a location in Ottawa and Baldwin. Ottawa location looks just like their downtown area as well, so if you look them up on Facebook, it should look a lot like that.
Which building is that?
That's where the CBD American Shaman place was.
Yeah. Okay.
He's gonna have a contractor come in and put his little ice cream bar in. So
There goes my waistline.
It'll be good to have an ice cream place besides, right now, all we have is Sonic, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've had several people that talk about, when's Dairy Queen coming back, so hopefully this becomes pretty popular.
we could always go for a Brahms.
Yeah.
That's true. Is Gary Queen coming back?
I haven't heard anything. I heard a rumor 3 years ago.
By Arby's?
Yeah, but I haven't heard
Yeah.
anything since then,
That'll be great.
so.
Yeah.
Spring cleanup, Waste Management picked up 83 tons of trash. So it makes my job a lot easier on the code enforcement side. And all my letters I sent out previous to that, I'm hoping they took advantage of it, so. I know, it's quite the feat for them to do in one day.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff sitting out around
There
there.
was.
Yeah.
Even after the pickers had been through it,
Yeah.
there was still a ton of stuff.
Yeah, and
Obviously.
the scrappers, help us a ton, because it was probably double that with
Oh, yeah.
scrap metal.
I saw more set out in my neighborhood this year than any other year.
Last year, this is the highest year, this was a record year.
Yeah.
Last year was 70 tons, the year before that was 73, and those were the highest in the last 5 years.
It seemed like it was the most to me. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was a lot.
Yeah. I put on here, fiber boring is almost done, and I'm happy to announce that Brett called me at 4 o'clock today and said they're completely done drilling.
Great.
So we've got a couple weeks of cleanup and restoration, and we're gonna deal with that probably for the next month on having them come back to do stuff, but at least they're done boring.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Might have saved Brett's job. San Jose Mexican Restaurant got their permit for their remodel, 1309 Baptiste Drive.
Got their sign up, had to have their sign up already.
Yep, I just saw that the other day, so.
Is that, are they coming from another place? I missed a meeting or was that?
No, so the family has several locations throughout KC Metro and, Missouri.
Okay,
The specific owner, I think, has 3 other locations. Not exactly sure where they are.
all called San Jose.
No, I think they've got a couple different names. I'll have to see if I can,
It's okay,
I'll have to
just
see if I can
curious.
find the news article and I can email it to
Okay,
you guys
yeah.
when it goes over everything.
Nice
But it
to have a
seems-
restaurant.
Very established, knows what he's doing. Their big thing is they have a margarita menu, all kinds of weird flavored margaritas, so. That's what he's advertising. It looks, I haven't had their food at other places, but it looks like it'd be good.
Yeah, I looked at their menu, they posted.
Yeah. Netherfield Kaskaskia Place received their state lodging license and fire marshal's inspection.
Good.
And they are complying with their current conditional use permit. After he got his state license, he reached out to me to get a conditional use permit. And then looking, he had already gotten one in 2020, so I told him he didn't need to get another one. It just shows that he's complying with it. I think they've been pretty busy. I see several people staying there. They had a little get together over the weekend, so. They're doing good. It looks really good there. City Council, Anthony Hugo is a new Ward 2 council member. He's from, I know at least previously Overland Park, he has some experience, working with, I think it's Urban KC Planning. I think it's a nonprofit that he volunteered for, and they helped, design and have input in the Country Club Plaza, Kansas City, walkability. So he's gonna bring some good insight. He's a young guy, so bring some young insight into it. I was hoping if they didn't appoint him, that we'd get him for planning commission. Tiny home site plan was approved. There weren't any comments or concerns with it. They're looking at a start site development in the next couple weeks. We just have to work through the logistics of the permitting side of it. Who's gonna do what inspections, but that'll be good to get going. Dangerous structures, the 209 North Pearl Street house was tabled until next month. The homeowner is under contract with Sunflower Real Estate. They buy a bunch of houses, fix them up.
Yeah.
So they're gonna table that till next year until they can close. 610 East Kaskaskia, the barn was declared dangerous and they were given 60 days to demolish it. We'll follow back up in July with that one. 115 West Wea actually opened for bids yesterday. Council set the minimum of $255,000. That's what the appraisal that we got on it was. So they wanted to at least try to get the appraised value. If we don't get any, then we can lower it, but that'll be good. Hopefully we get quite a few bids on it. Mile Dam project is getting closer to being finished. They have, yeah, they have the base rock for the road down, I believe. They're looking at trying to pave next week. They just got done with rip wrap on the backside of it. They'll have to do some guardrail, but they're getting there, and they're actually gonna extend their paving. Once they get to what they have torn out now, they're gonna mill and overlay, I believe, all the way up to the bridge going out of town. So that was on our street improvement plan, so worked out that they got the bid on it. And then once they get done paving that, they're gonna start paving around town, the streets. Right now, I don't have any applications for anything for next month. I'm gonna try to work on going through some older conditional use permits that might get addressed. I know typically it's recommended they're reviewed after a year and brought back to you guys. I don't know that that's been the case in the past. So I'm gonna try to get to that. One thing I did want to get you guys input on, conditional use permits for daycares. Right now, we require them per the LDO. But in looking at our regulations versus state regulations, we're basically just double regulating them over the same thing, and we haven't had a conditional use permit for a daycare. And I talked to Randy and she said since she's been here, so 10 years at least. Actually just spoke with somebody today that the state is redoing their regulations for daycares. They're completely reorganizing how they cover it. It's going to be under one organization. But I wanted to get your guys' input before I set a public hearing and started down the path of doing a text amendment to get rid of that requirement. Since we essentially just double regulate, they still have to get the state fire marshal's inspection. There's still limited hour regulations, say that the number of kids is set by planning commission. But the state sets that as well and regulates that. Looking at some of the inspections, they're pretty detailed in the inspections they do.
The only question I would have is, where they're limited to in Paola, where they can physically be in Paola.
As far as zoning districts,
Yeah, that would be the only thing that,
let me see if I can just.
I don't remember. It's come up before, but I don't, a long time ago.
I thought would be two, home daycares.
And that's what these are for. So anybody with a home daycare would still have to have a conditional use permit under our current zoning regulations. And I think when I talked to Jessica or Randy, that there's only like one, I think that currently has one.
Yeah.
Daycare.
We had more for a while.
Yeah.
A lot of them have gone away.
So right now for the use table, it's a yes everywhere except for suburban commercial, which we don't even actually have a suburban commercial district. It's just suburban. Yeah, so the business park and industrial zoning districts. Which is pretty narrow window. And regardless, like the industrial zoning district kind of overlaps some housing in there. I think even if we got rid of our requirements, the state's obviously gonna require them to get a license with them.
Yeah.
Or like the business park, the only thing I could think was if that Mathers building, you know, maybe somebody had one in there. But yeah, I want to get you guys' input on it before I actually set a public hearing and everything a month or two out.
Well, if it's double regulating, to me, it doesn't make sense if the state's regulating it and we're coming right behind the state. We're doing the same thing the state's doing. And as long as there's areas in the city that they can be in without having to get a conditional use permit, then I don't know why we're doing it personally, but
So
that was my opinion.
yeah, and I've been asked actually twice, because people have gone on the website and seen our application for it, you know, what the process is.
Yeah.
So I told them as of now, just hang on. Like I said, there's obviously several home daycares. This would actually, I believe part of the comp plan, one of the public input sections and areas of improvement was access to childcare. So this would loosen the requirements, make it more accessible for people to open home daycare. Again, they still have to, they still have to go with the state, so. I think the state does a good enough job. If the state were lacking in it, I could understand us.
Right.
Being more strict. But. Yeah. That's kind of the,
We have one at the church, all of our regulations start with, our state persons out of Johnson County, they don't have a local.
the lady I talked to today, she's a homeowner here in town and she's looking at doing daycare. And she said that she's a member of I can't remember. Something childcare, a nationwide organization for childcare. And she said Johnson County oversees us. We don't have our own inspectors.
That changed about a year and a half ago.
Where like Lynn County has their own inspectors, but they have to petition for KDHE to send inspectors specifically for Miami County. So it would help out if we could get people familiar with the area. Like we have our own health inspector who knows the restaurants, knows the community.
What, I see the old burger joint at the south end of town's getting a new roof.
Yeah, I was
What
gonna
is-
put that on here, but I figured somebody would ask about
What
it.
is it actually gonna be?
He, as far as I know, he doesn't have any final plans for a business on it. That one actually was on my list of letters that got sent out.
Cause it kinda looked like a low-end car lot.
And that was why, yeah. I sent him letters for inoperable vehicles. Actually, in my walking around it, went back behind the fence back there and there's a whole bunch more cars back there. So,
Is it the same owner?
as when it was grandstand, no, it sold. Yeah. I believe the owner of it now owns a tire shop up in Olathe. So I haven't heard back from him. I've sent letters and emailed, so the next step's probably gonna be write him a ticket. So.
Any word on what the old Casey's buildings are? I heard they were sold.
I haven't heard they sold.
I've heard
I
they
hadn't
were
even
sold.
heard that. I just had heard
Which
that.
one? Really?
The Casey's, they're closing.
Both of them? Both-
Yeah.
Both the small ones are?
Yeah. And
Yeah, if you go
I
in-
heard they were
If you
sold.
go in there now, they're almost empty.
Yeah.
So they've been.
I noticed they're-
So,
The cooler drinks were less today.
yeah.
It seems like they're all busy. It seems like they all have.
Yeah,
people
it'd
that
be a
work
loss
the time.
for the one here
Oh,
town,
I know.
all them people in the housing
Trico.
area down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is that a corporation decision?
I would imagine so. It doesn't get talked about with us, that's for sure.
I would imagine they're like everybody else, struggle to find help and have enough help to keep them open too.
I'm shocked that they're closing both of them. I would think, you close the one on hospital, move those people,
Yeah,
but.
that one on hospital is always difficult to get in.
Oh, I know.
That part.
It always has been.
Yeah.
I think it's always been
The
bad.
new one's always busy.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Everybody coming off the highways, going to Walmart. I know, I hate having to drive all the way down there, but.
You just need to go to Walmart. or-
I know, right? Yeah, so, I'm sure somebody will sweep them up. I haven't heard for sure that they've sold or not, but. Yeah, I think their last days. I originally heard the 27th, but when I went in there a couple days ago, the sign said the 18th, so. Of April.
Oh, it's funny that nothing's, I haven't seen one thing online about it,
Yeah, I know.
especially social media in Paola. Everything's on there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Obviously didn't need 3 Casey's, but having that one on Silver.
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
was nice.
that's right.
Hopefully it becomes a gas station again by somebody else.
Yeah, it's always been nice to have that one at that end of town,
Right,
the Phillips station at the north end of town.
You got everywhere.
At least,
covered.
yeah, and then the one out south or Park Plaza, the one out east.
So it could become a gas station again.
Yeah,
I don't know.
my wife told me that it couldn't be a gas station for so many years or something.
Hmm.
I was like, that doesn't make sense.
No, and I'd have to look into the zoning on it. If it were a discontinuance of use and it was a non-conforming, legal non-conforming, that would be one reason, but somebody coming in would come in and ask for a variance or a change. It's the same thing with the gas station on North Silver up on the hill. That they got a conditional use permit. So, because that one was discontinued for a long time. So,
Yeah.
so seeing one that's recent, I would think there would be quite a bit of interest in it.
That one's nice on the inside. I don't see many cars there,
No.
but they did a good job with the remodel. That was once.
Yeah, it did turn out nice on the inside. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a new building at this point, as old as it was.
What's that about? Both places closing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then I'll draw my.
Time marches on though,
It does.
time marches on
Yeah, it
and
is.
things change.
There's a no-name gas station in there.
Yeah, it needs something. Those tri-code kids and stuff always walk up to Casey's.
Oh, I know.
People in the housing, always,
Yeah, they've got nowhere to go now.
yeah, we gotta walk a ways.
We take public transportation through the senior center. We take a lot of people there,
Yeah,
a lot of people there.
yeah. It, so I can't believe it. But
7-Eleven. Can you get on that? Could you? Does that fall under you?
I can reach out.
Yeah.
Get some Slurpees.
Put us on the list.
That's right.
All right, you have anything else?
That's all I have.
All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So be it.
I'll take a second.
Second the motion to adjourn.
All right, we got a motion and a second.
Hayes,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Calvin,
Yes.
Parks,
Yes.
Mauer,
Yes.
Sheets.
Yes.
Good night, Ally.
Looking right at you.